Welcome back. I wanted to cover avatar snapping today in terms of things like hats, scarves, bracelets, necklaces, you name it, we can go ahead and get it snapping. This will be a simple rehashing of my snapper tutorial where I talk about more generic snapping. That's more for things like keys, objects, stuff within a world. This is going to be, more focused on avatars in particular. And so I've heard requests and questions about this. There are some tools available that can help you. For example, there's the Effortless Equipable tool, which is the usual way that things were done. That was a business lawyer created that, and I think Outsider modified it later. But more recently, we've been moving over towards Turk's new tool. I forgot what it's called actually, but it's in Neos Essentials. Give me a moment. I'll remind myself what that's called. Effortless Snappable, something like that. It's a very good tool. Sticky Equipable by Turk. Yes, so that's the one that's in Neos Essentials, and that's what we'll see most hats using these days. If you go to Neos Essentials and you go inside the MTC avatar creation thing, that's the sort of hat that uses those Sticky Equipables or Effortless Equipables, where you put it on your head and it kind of just sticks there, a little bit like, a post-it note might do or a sticky note might. We're actually going to be doing what I call more precise snapping here, and that's where you have an object and you want it to snap to exactly that same space, and you might save your avatar with that particular object attached. My face is an example of this. It was actually one of the first things I did when I came to Neos is I can go ahead and remove this face and put it back on again and it snaps. That shocks some people because they haven't seen it before, so I'm showing you again. Yeah, my face is removable. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at these avatar objects and get them snapping to my avatar. There are some links in the video description to the snapping video I talked about, and there's also a link to a video by Delirious Jax on the same subject. I do want to make sure that I'm highlighting other tutorial creators in the community, and Jax has a great video on this exact topic, so feel free to watch both. Some people learn in different ways, and so if Jack's video helps you, that's great. If mine helps you, that's also great. Let's take a look at the objects. So over here in Smooth POV, I've got the two objects here. These are just random models I found on Sketchfab. I'll put the links in the video description to them so if you want to go ahead and check them out. If you're interested in how to import models from Sketchfab, I have a video on that, which is also linked in the video description. So you'll see here on the left here, we've got a sort of, nice hat. It kind of reminded me of one of the Bloodborne hats, and I don't know, it just spoke to me when I was looking through Sketchfab. And then to the right of that is a leather sort of strappy bracelet. These were all the rage back when I was sort of almost leaving school. And again, it just spoke to me. I liked how it looked in the preview window. I particularly liked how, it had the sort of realistic buckle here, which is then sort of bolted back such that it stays there, and then the rivets there as well. It just looked like it was put together with a thought about sort of, how someone might wear it, etc. So those are the two objects, and we're going to snap them to my avatar here. So the first thing I actually want to do is talk about how to do that in a way that makes sense for you, which is please spawn a copy of your avatar. Don't add hats and things like that on the avatar that you're wearing. You'll end up with a lot of mess, you won't be precise, and you won't be able to sort of rotate around the object and see what the hat looks like in 3 dimensions, because you're then stuck. You're like, my hat is on properly, etc. So just spawn a copy of your avatar, exactly as if you would spawn it if you'd not had it in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to just turn to the left here, head back to the root of my inventory, and spawn my avatar from there. Again, here it is. There I am, just sort of sat there. And now we're ready to get going. Let's go ahead and take a look. The first thing we're going to do is the hat. I'll put chapters in the video description, which should hook into YouTube, so you can sort of skip around if you're not particularly interested in the hat and you want to see the bracelet, or vice versa. You can see what everything's going on there. The first thing I usually like to do is I like to inspect the object and see what we're dealing with. Some objects come in, especially from Sketchfab, they come in with a sort of messy hierarchy or maybe unnecessary slots. Sometimes you'll see cameras or lights, which is great for importing into Blender because you know sort of what the settings they're using, etc. But if it's into Neos, you don't really need that. So let's go ahead and take a look. I've never looked at these things. I did set up the materials off camera, but like I said, there's a video on how to do that with most Sketchfab material models in the video description. If you'd like to see me set up these two objects, if you want to try them out and you're having difficulty, do let me know. I can record a short sort of addendum to this video for you. So I've got equipped my developer tooltip here. I'm going to aim it at the hat and hit secondary, and then open inspector. I've already noticed one problem, but I just want to open inspector. So the first problem I noticed is that the origin of the hat is down there, and also that the blue arrow is pointing up, which means that there's probably a weird transform going on here. That's common, especially when you're sort of importing models that have been created by other people and other applications. No 3D application can sort of agree on the coordinate spacing that they're using, or in some cases even the scale that they're using, but it's okay. Neos gives you all the tools to sort of collapse those, and it's no one's fault. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the up arrow on the left here just to sort of see what's at the top of the hat. Oh, simple hat for radar.fbx. Let's take a look at where that origin is. Unfortunately, still on the floor. There's also a weird scale going on here. You'll see 0.0235. That's a little bit weird. And then on the hat, there's also a weird rotation. I'm going to clear most of that down, and the easy way that I do, the reason that I do this is so that everything is clear, concise, and I don't have any sort of confusing transforms going on. Also cut down on the slots a little bit. I don't like having the root node and the FBX file hanging around if I don't need them. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit the reset rotation first of all. I think that puts the hat under the ground, but that's totally fine. We'll just go ahead and bring it up again. Where are you? Oh, you're behind me. Hi, Hat. How's your day been, Hat? Now we're going to reselect the hat here, and I'm going to just sort of recreate a new hierarchy for it. One of the first things I want to do is move a gizmo or its origin point to the center of the hat. Easiest way to do that is hit this Create Pivot at Center button. That'll create a parent above it and make that the pivot the center of the object. So now you'll see that we've got a gizmo directly in the center of the hat. That's a lot more useful for doing things in, especially with hats. So I'm now going to go ahead and attach component transform interaction grabbable. That adds a grabbable. I'm also going to add scalable because we might need to scale it as we put it on my head. And then I'm going to go ahead and rename this to hat. I'm going to hit parent underworld root. And I'm going to delete simple hat for Ray 2. And now we've got a hat and it's a lot more simpler of a transform. So now I'll do it to you. Let's get this snapping. I'm going to go ahead and reposition it so that it's on my head. That might be too small. We'll take a look. I need to move my camera control out of the way. Do bear with me this little bit. I won't go perfect. You can feel free to spend sort of hours on it if you would like with your own avatar, but I'm just going to do it roughly. So there you go. That's good enough for me. Maybe a little bit to the left. So that dips in there. There we go. So that's why I want the hat to look like when it's on me. It doesn't look as cool as I thought it would. I guess I need the whole sort of Bloodborne aesthetic with the rest of the clothing to go there, but we'll continue. So what I now need to do is find in my avatar the part of the body I want this hat to snap to. So in this case, it's a hat, so it goes on my head. So I'm going to go ahead and find my head. It's a little bit tricky for me because my head's quite complicated because of the mask. We'll go ahead and do that. So your mileage may vary. Actually, we'll do it the way that we'll skip that mask problem, which is if I go ahead and inspect my chest here, so I'm aiming the laser at my chest area, hitting secondary, and then open inspector. You'll see that we're on my chest. My bones are renamed for many reasons. It doesn't really matter. Just know that my head bone is called my haunch. It's basically to protect me from some of those knockback weapons, etc. So now I want to do is I want to parent the head of parent the hat to the head of my avatar. So I'm going to go ahead and hit secondary on the hat again. Oh. There we go. A little bit of trouble with lasers there. Go up to that the other object, which is the hat at the top here, and I'm going to go ahead and parent that to the not the chest, the head. So now if I were to go ahead and move my avatar around, you'll see that the hat stays exactly where it is. That's great. Let's now set up that snappable. Easiest way to do this now that we've parented it to my head is what I do is I select the hat. I push the up arrow, and what this does is it creates a slot above the hat, which has the exact same transform as the hat, and then it sets that hat as the child of that new object. So we can go ahead and hit that yellow up arrow here, and now I have hat parent and hat. What this gives us is an easy setup that we can do, and the hat-parent turns into our snapper, a snap target, and the hat turns into our snapper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and set up those components. This is the part which is exactly the same as the snapper tutorial. Like I said, please feel free to skip around. I've tried to keep this one as brief as I can, but I did want to do it fully just so people are aware, posing it, sorting out the models, doing all the transforms. Let's go ahead and get this done. So I'm going to go ahead and grab hat, which is the object we want to snap, and put it to the left here and hit primary. So now we've got two side by side and we can focus on both of them quickly. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go ahead on the hat parent and attach the snap target. So that's in attach component. Transform interaction snap target. Right away I'm going to go to the left here and do attach component transform interaction snapper. And with those done, we can now take a look at the process of linking them together. Now, I've noticed a lot of people use snapper keywords. That's totally fine. When it comes to an object which I own, I use the snap target whitelist and the snapper whitelist, and those are done by reference, which basically means when I spawn in the avatar, only that hat, not any other hat, can snap to my head. It's up to you. I just prefer having, that relationship set up when it makes sense to be. So I wouldn't want to use the keywords for my mask, for example, because only one mask can snap to the front of my face. If multiple could, then it would be a problem because my voice comes out of my mask. It would just be a mess. But I'm going to show you how to do it using that way. Feel free to skip that and do keywords if you would like. I will be showing the reference way. So I'm going to add an entry to the snap target whitelist and an entry to the snapper whitelist. And then we just pair these across. So the hat gets grabbed, and we can actually just grab it from the left and dropped into the snapper whitelist. You'll see that gets specified. That's great. And then the hat-parent goes into the snap target whitelist. We're almost there, I promise, with the hat. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the hat. And I'm just going to go ahead and move it off the head. And you might think, oh no, you've lost all your stuff that's, parenting it, etc. You've lost all of that. No, I actually haven't lost all of that. I've got everything set up exactly how I... Did I really do that? Hold on. No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I'll keep going. I would have cut there, but no, I did set it up. I must have just changed the slots at one point. So what I did there was I got confused with my slots. This is where no editing comes in. And what I've got now here is I've got the hat free floating on the world root. It's not parented to my avatar anymore because I grabbed it off, but I've still got a reference to where it was of this hat-parent object. The reason why I did this is because a lot of trouble that people have with snappers is they won't work. Like right now, you'll see that this snapper won't work. And the reason behind that is because if you look right in the center of that gizmo, right between my eyes, there's a tiny sort of hint of purple. That hint of purple is being driven by the maximum snap distance here. And what that does is that just controls a sphere collider's radius. So what we want to do is make that larger. And the way that I've set this up, we can actually see that quite well. So for example, if I do 0.5, you'll see that we're beginning to see that box a little bit. Let's try a really large number. Let's go for 50. And now you'll see that that box is up here, and that's really clear. And that's the reason why I do it this way with the object removed when I'm sort of setting this up, is because I can see that bounding box and figure out what it needs to be. So 50 is too big. I'm going to drop that down to 5. That actually looks all right. We'll go ahead and give that a go. Put it close by. Go ahead. Okay, let's make that a little bit bigger. We'll go 10. There we go, 10 worked. So you just play around with these numbers. It doesn't realistically matter how big they are. I'm having trouble here because of my face has quite a large radius on it. I had to increase the radius on my face because of the facial tracker. I was going frontways into my face to grab my face, and now I can't because I bashed the facial tracker. So now I go from the side. So I increased the snapper radius for, well, actually the grabbable radius for that. So now we've got that working. I can take the hat on and off, and it works. I can drag my avatar around. The hat's attached, and then I can take the hat off, put it away, and I move separately with it. Do note, like I said, with the reference-based whitelisting, only that hat can snap to me. It wouldn't be any other hat. If you want to use keywords, like I said, absolutely fine. I just don't tend to use them. Right, that's the hat. I'm now going to go ahead and do the bracelet. If you're comfortable with what I've shown you, the bracelet is going to be an exact repetition of that with just the wrist. So feel free to leave off, but you'd like more tuition, it's totally free, available here on YouTube for you. Let's go ahead and do the bracelet. So once again, we start right at the start again. Bring the avatar next to us. Let's go ahead and inspect the bracelet, see what we're doing. Looks like it's called a band charm. That's quite a nice name for it, actually. I'm going to go up to the top here. Much more reasonable origin point on this. When I imported this, you'll notice that there's a bunch of sort of pivots from ASIMP, which is the library that Neos uses to import stuff. I don't like those being there because they're pretty not necessary, so I go ahead and get rid of them. We've still got everything in there. Everything's still working. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use band charm as the root, just to get rid of the root node in the FBX file. Like I said, I don't need them, so might as well get rid of them. So we'll go ahead to band charm. I'm going to go ahead and go to attach component, transform, interaction, grabbable. I'll make sure scalable is checked again. Rename it to what I want to name it to, so I'll just name it band. Go ahead, parent that to the world root, delete dash band 19, and we got a nice cleaned up model. And so now again, I'm going to go ahead and position it on the wrist. I have a little bit of difficulty here because I've got giant cuffs, but That'll be good for the tutorial's sake. So now what we need to do is parent this to the location again. So we're going to be using the wrist for this one. So bracelets a wrist. Just for quick reference as well. Head will be hats, necklaces, scarves, collars, etc. will be neck. Chest would be sort of brooches, pocket watches, or anything like that. Hips, we often see things like swords or potion bottles or stuff like that. I have seen shoulders a few times as well, but not that much. Back or chest actually would be for backpacks and stuff like that. Just find the closest bone, experiment a little bit. I'm probably the only one I'm aware of, at least, that has they're actually Effortless Equipable shoes. They're in my memes folder, my public folder, and they are Burger King foot lettuce shoes in there. But I haven't really seen any snappable shoes. Maybe you've got interchangeable shoes, who knows. Let's go ahead and get this done. So I'm going to go ahead, point at my wrist here, hit secondary. That selected my left elbow. Once again, my bones are renamed. I apologize for that. I probably should have used another avatar, but here we are, sort of 15 minutes into the video. We'll continue. So left wrist is my wrist. I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to go ahead and inspect the band. I'm going to go ahead and drag band into the left wrist. I'm going to select the left wrist, hit that parent button up the upper here, and then I'm going to open up band to the right. We'll do the right this time because I'm big and on the left. And we'll select band parent here. Band parent gets the snap target, so transform interaction snap target. Band gets the snapper, so attach component, transform interaction snapper. Pair these across. So snapper to the snapper whitelist, snap target to the snap target whitelist. With that done, go ahead and remove the band, drop it in the world, and that'll get it unparented from the wrist there. But you'll see it still exists in the world. And then we're going to go ahead and increase that sphere collider till it makes sense again. So right now it's 0.1, that's too small. 0.5, still too small. Let's go ahead and go up to 5. 5 looks good to me. So now we've got 5 on. Go ahead, drag it towards there. It snaps on, and we're done. We've now got a sort of weird cowboy version of Prime with a hat. I will save this. I've got a joke folder where I save sort of jovial versions of my avatar that have various things changed to them. If anyone's seen my Marge Simpson version of my avatar, you are one of the lucky few. If you'd like to see that, let me know next time you see me in the world. So there you go. That is a hat and a bracelet. I hope that's been helpful. Sorry that went on a little bit. I did want to make sure it was comprehensive, as I know there's a lot of questions about this process. Do feel free to check the snapper video below if you'd like something shorter, or Jax's video, which is also I think is shorter, or just run me at 2x speed. I don't mind at all. I will see you next time for another tutorial. Until then, enjoy this last minute look at Prime wearing a silly hat and a bracelet. Goodbye. Hope you had a great day.